Good evening, everyone. We will begin the evening service of the Miroku Association headquarters, expressing our gratitude to God and Meishu-sama for the permission and protection granted us, while participating today in God's divine plan of constructing a paradise on this earth. Let us pray together the Amatsu-Norito, the prayer of heaven, followed by the Miroku Prayer. Please stand. Takahama ni kamuzumarimasu kamurogi kamuromi no mikoto mochite sumemi oya kamuizanagi no mikoto tsukushi no himoka no tachi hana no odo no ahagi hara ni Misogi harai tamo toki ni narimaseru. Harai dono o kamitachi. Moro moro no magagoto tsumi kegareo. Harai tamai kiyome tamai tomao sukoto no yoshio. Amatsu kami kunitsu kami yao yorozu no kami tachi tomoni. Ame no fuchi koma no mimi furi tatete. Kikoshi meseto kashikomi momaosu. Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hai tamae. Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hai tamae. Oshie mi oya nushi no kami mamori tamae saki hai tamae. Oshie mi oya nushi no kami Mamori tamae saki hai tamae. Kam nagara tamachi hai mase. Kam nagara tamachi hai mase. Great God of light, creator and giver of all life, in accordance with your divine will, the long age of night draws to an end. Your radiant divine light, shining ever more brilliantly, awakens the dawn of the glorious age of light, a time long awaited by all humanity. We thank you for guiding us to your divine plan and for the privilege of channeling and receiving Johrei. May our spirits and bodies be illuminated and purified as we live your truth given to us by Meishu-sama. Make us pure and effective instruments of your divine light so that we may serve you and all those with whom we come in contact. May paradise on earth be realized, with health, peace, and prosperity, a reality in our lives. Great God of light, bless and protect us. Radiate our souls with your divine light, so that we may truly become instruments of your great plan. Please be seated for group Johrei. Obrigado, Miroku Prayer. Miroku's teaching this evening is entitled Paradise on Earth and is found on the Daily Inspirations, page 29. I'm doing my utmost to help fulfill God's marvelous plan of establishing paradise on earth. A civilization in which disease, poverty, and conflict no longer exist will be a paradise on earth. Paradise on earth is a world where truth, virtue, and beauty manifest in perfect form. The aim of our spiritual movement is to establish a paradise on earth by helping to create and promote a spiritual civilization that will develop alongside our present material civilization. Paradise on earth is the phrase I have used to describe a world free from disease, poverty, and conflict. A world that has long been the ideal of humanity. Over the ages, spiritual leaders from various cultures have prophesied the advent of such a world without specifying a time frame for the realization of such ideals. However, I have become aware of the fact that the moment is close at hand. It would be extremely fortunate for humanity if paradise on earth could be established without any major changes. The truth is, however, that in order for an ideal world to be realized, the cleansing of our present world must first be accomplished. Just as an old house must be razed and the site cleared before a new house can be built. There will be a number of parts from the old structure that will still be usable and thus be spared, but their selection, of course, is up to God. To survive, all human beings must become useful members of the new civilization. By doing so, we can surmount this great change and pass God's test. This can only be achieved through faith in God. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining the Miroku Association headquarters evening service. Thank you also for keeping praying for world peace. The faith experience I want to share with you this evening is from Maria Aparecida Pires de Carvalho Ferreira. She's from Mato Grosso do Sul, Brazil. Maria Aparecida is 57 years old and belongs to the Mato Grosso do Sul church in Brazil. She would like to share her faith experience on how she could reconcile with her father's spirit and how it impacted her emotional health. She was introduced to Johrei in 1989. At the time, she lived with her husband in the city of Marília, in the interior of the state of São Paulo. Over there was a neighbor who is a Johrei member and began to assiduously channel Johrei to Maria. After 4 years, Maria and her husband returned to Mato Grosso do Sul. However, although she appreciated receiving Johrei, she did not seek to visit the Johrei Center. She was raised by her paternal grandmother, aunt, and father, as her mother had passed away when she was just 2 years old. After 3 years, her grandmother also made her transition to the spiritual realm. When Maria was 11 years old, her father got married and moved to another city with her stepmother. He invited Maria to live with them, but she preferred to live with her aunt. She has always had an intense love for her father. During school holidays, she traveled to his hometown. Those were very happy times. However, her feeling was like demanding more attention and affection from him. She didn't feel that her father expressed the same love she had for him, feeling that she was left behind, compared with the children of his second marriage. As a teenager, she wanted to have more contact with him, but pride kept her from looking for him. As she became an adult, she realized that her father was always present in special moments for her engagement, her marriage, her pregnancy, the birth of his grandson, amongst other occasions. Maria blamed herself for not having spent more time with her father and cried out to God for a new opportunity to be close and take care of him, showing how much she loved him. 2009, her father started having kidney problems as a result of diabetes. It was the opportunity she had been waiting for, considering she's a nurse with experience dealing with patients with chronic diseases. However, due to the chores at home and her job, Maria ended up not paying enough attention to him. Her father lived in a town about 100 miles away, and she only visited him sporadically. Over the course of 10 years, he underwent hemodialysis, amputations, decreased vision, kidney transplant, and other complications until he died of kidney failure in 2019. With his transition, the guilt for not having given more assistance and prioritizing their relationship began to emotionally consume Maria each passing day. She missed hugging each other, as well as their gatherings and conversations that they no longer could have. During the same period, she questioned why her father had suffered so much from diseases, even though he was a good person. That same year, she developed panic disorder, anxiety, depression, and insomnia. And while undergoing psychiatric care, she had to take controlled medications. In 2020, with the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, her symptoms accentuated. She couldn't sleep and had constant bouts of anxiety, which jeopardized her personal and professional life. This situation led her psychiatrist to increase the doses of prescribed drugs at each consultation. In January of 2021, a friend who is a Johrei member called her. When asking how she was, Maria sobbed and put out of her chest everything that was happening to her. After a brief silence, the friend stated, Johrei, you need Johrei. Yet she didn't have the strength to follow his advice. Consequently, he began to send her text messages every day, asking how she was doing and if she had already been to the Johrei Center, reinforcing that it was Johrei who would get her out of that condition. Thus, after 2 months, she finally went to church. She spoke to the minister and began to receive 3 Johrei a day. In the first week, she noticed a significant improvement in her health situation. After a month, the psychiatrist reduced the doses of her medications. In view of this, she manifested the desire to become a Johrei member, and in August of last year, 2021, she was allowed to receive the sacred focal point of Hikari. Soon after, she requested the Sorei Saishi, the enshrinement of her ancestors, and began to give herself in service. During this period, although with much lower dosages, she was still taking controlled medications. Regarding her father, she still felt guilty, and that hurt her immensely. In November of that year, she was allowed to participate on a pilgrimage to the sacred grounds of Guarapiranga for the first time in order to attend the annual ancestor service. She was speechless by the beauty of the grounds and sat on the side of the temple in a position that, although distant, allowed her to see the entire altar. Immersed in many thoughts, she listened to the choir performing songs that her father was very fond of and listened to often. Among them, one had lyrics saying something like, Nothing that once was will be again the way one day it manifested. She had the sensation that everything would become different from that moment on. Many birds also sang and created a big fuss around them. She recalled that her father was a breeder of competition birds, and he had many of them in his house, which sang beautiful songs but sad for being stuck in their cages. However, what Maria was actually listening was a song of joy and freedom. Everything was harmonizing perfectly within her, and she felt that God and Meishu-sama were manifesting their love. She began to shed tears, and feelings of reunion and joy invaded her heart. She strongly felt a reconciliation between her and her father. Then she listened to the teaching of the service entitled strata in the spiritual realm and began to reflect on her father's illness. She realized that, according to God's will, he had accomplished his mission through his severe purification. It occurred to Maria that, in order to achieve true inner peace, she should understand that each human being receives a mission and must fulfill it according to the divine will, and it is not up to her to question but to give thanks. During his message, the head minister mentioned about a young woman who, for years, had grieved for her deceased father, and through her dedication at the sacred grounds, she realized she was being self centered by holding on to the negative side of situations, forgetting to appreciate the good and happy moments she had with her father. Consequently, Maria was able to free herself and could reconcile with her father's spirit. And the head minister concluded, how many times do we get stuck in situations that happened years ago, past situations that we keep mulling over because of ego and attachment? It felt like every single word of the head minister was directed to her. She began to think about the guilt she had after her father's death. She concluded that she was stuck with pain, absences, and heartaches. Maria felt as if her father was telling her that what matters is the happy moments we live and not those we don't. An indescribable relief permeated her. She was able to let go of resentments and manifested joy, excitement, and peace. She could feel the happiness of her ancestors in her father. She had the impression that somehow everything that had happened during the service had been meticulously prepared by the spiritual realm so that she could experience that sublime moment of peace and redemption. Upon returning home, she lay down and slept soundly, without the use of any medication. It had not happened for 2 years. When she woke up, she found out that she had no sign of the symptoms that once afflicted her. She looked at the medication she used to take and didn't feel any need to continue using such drugs. These medications remain untouched to this day. She remains very well physically and emotionally. She no longer experiences anxiety, insomnia, depression, panic attacks, or pain. Today, she reflects on how much she would like to have this reunion with her father while he was still alive, to be able to hug him and express all her love. On the other hand, she learned that it's never too late to reconcile with those we love, because the soul is eternal, and we are still alive once in the spiritual realm. Maria Aparecida is deeply thankful to God and Meishu-sama as well as to her ancestors for allowing her to live this experience, to her friend for his selfless love and persistence in guiding her to the Johrei movement, and mainly to her father for the partnership in this great journey of learning and spiritual growth. She now commits herself to continue serving the divine work and sharing the light of Johrei wherever she is, so that the greatest number of people and their ancestors can be saved. Thank you very much for listening to this very powerful faith experience. Wish you a very blessed evening, very blessed weekend. And with this concludes our evening service. Thank you very much.